Knowing when to call it quits in a marriage is a complex and deeply personal decision. It's a point in a relationship where the challenges, conflicts, or issues have reached a critical moment, and the question of whether to continue or end the marriage becomes important to individual life choices. This introspective journey involves a careful reflection on the dynamics of the relationship, the well-being of both partners, and the overall quality of life within the marriage. In this exploration of when to consider ending a marriage, research into the signs, factors, and considerations that can help individuals make this profound and life-altering decision with wisdom and clarity. On this episode, I share with you the 10 reasons to determine when to call quits in a marriage. I'm sure there are many more reasons to take into consideration. However, I believe that these reasons are important to know if you are thinking about divorcing your partner or will actually help you start your divorce proceeding. If you want to learn more about those reasons, continue listening because you don't want to miss this episode. And welcome back to another episode of yours truly. It is I, your one and only host, Druelee, of course. As you guys listen to the introduction of this episode, I'll be talking about 10 reasons to determine when to call quits in a marriage. I'm not saying that you should just divorce your partner, but in order to consider divorcing your partner, please take these reasons into consideration. I'm pretty sure there's many other reasons to divorce. However, I believe that these are like my top 10 reasons to give a good reason why you wanted to divorce your partner. And for those who have been listening to me from the beginning, the reason why I created this podcast is because I went through a life change in my life where I was once married in my culture. I wasn't legally married, but I was culturally married, meaning that in my culture, my Hmong culture, I was known to be a married woman. 3 years ago, I decided to divorce, and now I am a single woman, and I am creating this podcast to talk to you guys openly about everything taboo, and divorce is one of those topics that are very taboo in my culture. And I just want to be one of those people that are willing to be open and vulnerable and to share with you guys my experience when it comes to being a divorcee in the Hmong community. I mean, it could be in any cultural community, but specifically, I am part of the Hmong community and born and raised learning about the Hmong community, the Hmong culture and whatnot. So if you are not Hmong, but you can relate to a lot of things that we do and we believe in our culture, by all means keep listening. Like I said, I'm not trying to force you guys or influence you guys to get divorced. If you continue listening on, and if these reasons are good reasons for you to get a divorce, then please do so. I know that in a lot of other cultures, and also within my culture, we look at divorce as a shameful thing, specifically within the Hmong woman or the woman itself. If us women decide to get divorced, we have this label in my native language. We call them bando. And people say it or view us divorced women in a negative way. And a lot of times they think that it's our fault. We are the reason why we decide to divorce our husband. And I think nowadays, in today's generation, it's really common for a lot of us to get divorced. And me being a divorcee or a bundle, I don't think there's anything negative about it. I haven't heard anybody say anything negative to me. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of you guys out there who has been divorced, have had family members or just other people who are within the community to point fingers at you and to address you as a divorcee, and they are saying bad things about you. And I'm so sorry that you have to go through that. For me, I didn't have to go through that, maybe because I'm kept to myself. I'm not into the Hmong community as much. I'm not out and about in the open where people know me. So if you are a divorced woman and you are very involved in the Hmong community and a lot of people are shaming you or looking down upon you because you're a divorcee, well, fuck them. Fuck them. But at the same time, don't allow that label to dictate who you are as an individual. Just because you're a divorcee, that doesn't mean you're less of a person. And, you have your reason for why you are divorced. And people, they don't need to know your reason. And if they are quick to judge you and to label you that and shame you on that, then fuck them. They are so fucking narrow-minded and they don't know jack shit about what happened to you in your relationship and your marriage. And I just hope that you are strong enough to, dodge those bitches or those motherfuckers who are, very negative to you. For me, I don't allow that shit to happen to me. I can say that I'm just one of those lucky people that didn't have to deal with any of that, and that is one of the reasons why it was really hard for me to get divorced, because of course, growing up in a Hmong family, they embed in us Hmong daughters to think of that, meaning that to think of, you shouldn't divorce. If you divorce your husband, then you have a bad name. You bring shame to the community. You bring shame, especially to your family in general. You don't want to disappoint, as a Hmong woman or as a Hmong daughter, you don't want to disappoint anybody in your family. You guys know that I didn't grow up in a hardcore traditional Hmong family. I grew up in a Christian family, and my parents, they're not in depth or so much into the Hmong culture. We're more towards, believing in God, going to church, and we didn't do a whole lot of things within the Hmong traditional cultural way. Although we do practice it specifically during marriage, wedding, what else? Funerals. That, or when you get sick, then you do some spiritual stuff. I don't know what it is. Again, you guys, I don't know too much detail, but growing up in a Hmong Christian family, we didn't do one of those hardcore shamanism practices, okay? We just did a lot of what they call it new age or new religion way of doing things, basically. If you're like me, where you grew up in a Hmong Christian family, I do have to say it's not that bad. That is if you grew up in a family, or if your parents aren't well known out there. My parents, they're not the top notch leader in my Hmong clan, or they're not out and about there in the public, in the Hmong public view. They're not into those things. And so if you have parents who are not actively involved in the Hmong community, then I do have to say that it'll be a lot easier for you to get divorced. And yeah, it does kind of sound kind of sad because your parents are not there to support you, but do not allow your parents or the way that they taught you to be afraid to get divorced, because being Hmong, you're not supposed to get divorced. You're supposed to, in my native language term, or to be patient. It doesn't matter if your husband beats you or treats you bad, or if his parents treat you like shit. You still have to be in that committed relationship or in that marriage with your husband, regardless, if you don't want to bring shame. But for those who have parents whom are very active in the community, where they are leaders or they are involved in the Hmong community somehow, and a lot of people know them and they're well known, chances are they are going to back you up and they're going to support you and do what they need to do to support you, to make sure that you and your relationship with your spouse are supposed to be fixed, basically. Again, yeah, it's sad to say that some family aren't supportive of you. Some families are, depending on your lifestyle and how active your parents are. For my parents, like I mentioned, they're not active, so it's not like people are going to come up to them and judge them and spread rumors. Oh, your daughter is, the divorcee, shaming you, bad on you. We're not going to support you with whatever you're doing. Like shit like that. It's kind of like a Korean drama in a way. But aside from that, this episode is specifically for those who are currently in a marriage and you feel like you need a reason to get divorced. I'm all for a divorce. And like I said in the beginning of this episode, I'm not trying to force you to get a divorce. It has to be a good reason why you are divorcing your partner. It can't just be, because I'm just tired of you being lazy and all that stuff. But there's to an extent. There has to be a couple more reasons why you are divorcing. And coming from me as a divorcee myself, what that I've been through, I have my own reason, and I will give you guys my reason. And I'm pretty sure you guys know my reason already if you guys have been listening to my previous episode. I've been open about it, and although there are certain things that I did not experience in their marriage, I'm pretty sure some of you guys have experienced a lot worse than me. I hope that this episode will help you to determine whether or not it's a good sign or it's time to get divorced. Because why would you want to be in a marriage where you're not fulfilled inside and out? Why would you want to be with someone who is not giving in to you and you're doing your part 100%? And like I always mention, marriage is not for everyone. Marriage is also not a game. A lot of people don't understand that. They think that by you getting married, you have succeeded in life. But there's more to marriage than just, having the ring, having that huge wedding, and living happily ever after. Disney does a very bad job of portraying realistic life. And I get it. Disney is all about fantasy, having that lovey-dovey type of life, whatever it is, right? But if we were to come back to reality and face reality, that's not what marriage is all about. Some people don't understand what it takes to be in a marriage. As for me, I got married because I knew that he was the one that I want to spend the rest of my life with, and that no matter what, I will always be there to support him, because I knew during that time that we could get through things. But unfortunately, if you are like me, where the good, the bad, you are able to keep your partner accountable, tell them the good and the bad, and be there to support them, figure out things out. Wow, this person is not willing to do that, it's not going to work out. Just like in a regular relationship, if you're dating somebody whom they are not doing things that is fulfilling you and that are what you are looking for in a marriage, then it's not going to work out. That's why I'm going to give you guys 10 reasons to determine when to call it quits in a marriage. The first one is if you guys are having continuous and unresolved conflict, meaning that if you and your partner are engaging in very intense conflicts where every time you guys have an argument, or if you have something to say or something's bothering you and you are confining that issue with your partner and this person is not responding back to you, they're not communicating with you, they're not helping you resolve any of you guys' conflict, nothing is changing, she's not changing, you're not changing, it's not going to work out. The moment when you keep talking or bringing up the same issue over and over again, nothing is being done, nothing is being said, and your partner is going to tell you that why are you nagging so much. They're going to assume that you're nagging too much and you're bitching too much. There's no reason to bitch, but the only reason why you're bitching is because nothing's being done. He or she are not reassuring to you that they are going to change, or that the issue that you guys are having are going to happen again. So for example, let's say if your in-laws, okay, your in-law is disrespecting you and you don't feel good about it, and you spoke to your partner about it, saying that I don't like how mom is approaching me this way, that way. Can you, next time when this happens, can you let your mom know? Whatever, right? The next time that happens and your husband or your wife isn't doing anything, and it's still continuing on, you're still gonna bring it up because it makes you feel like even though you have this conversation with your partner, they're not doing anything about it. Or is it because they're forgetting about it? I get that you're not trying to nag, or I get that you're not trying to bitch, but it's like, how many times do you have to bring this up in order for your partner to realize that this is an issue that you're having? So my thing is that if you, as an individual who is constantly telling your partner, I don't feel good when this person or your family member is doing this or saying this. I don't like it when you do this because it makes me feel this way. And they disregard your emotions. They disregard how you feel. They just don't do anything. They sit there in silent. It goes to show to you that they're not willing to communicate with you, and they're not willing to help you solve anything. And they're just letting you do all this by yourself. Trust me, I've been there. That was one of the reasons why I decided to divorce, because every time when lost mom says something or did something and I didn't like and I feel offended, I've always voiced that to lost boy. However, lost boy never did anything. It's like he's afraid to communicate all these things to his parents. And I'm just like, dude, it's like, I get that they're your parents, but still, at the end of the day, this is bothering me. And it's, for me, it makes me feel like they disrespect me. So you, as my husband, I needed him to step up and tell his parents, take a step back. You shouldn't be saying or doing things that is disrespecting my wife, because that's disrespecting me. And when he doesn't say that, or he doesn't put his foot down, create that boundary, it's going to affect me, and I'm pretty sure it's affecting you in some shape or form, And so, of course, if you guys are having continuous same issues, or issues that you're bringing up numerous times, same thing, and nothing's being done, it's time to go. There's no point of trying to re-explain yourself. How many times do you have to explain yourself? Like 100 times for them to understand, to know? If they are able to like a certain subject and they know 100% of the time what it is, but yet they're not making the time to understand you and what you are feeling and what you are needing in your life at the moment, it's not going to work out, okay? Number 2, the lack of emotional connection. If you are lacking any emotional intimacy and connection, that can lead to loneliness and you're not satisfied in a marriage. For me, in my experience, it comes to a point in my marriage where I felt like we were just roommate. I'm telling you guys, the moment when you feel like you are a roommate to your partner, it is the gateway to divorce, okay? I'm laughing right now, but there was just so many times where I have told lost boy, you know what? Let's just be a roommate. I'm paying for the mortgage and you're paying for the utility. So, you have your own room, I have my own room. We're not going to fuck. We're not going to do anything. And when it's payday, you got to pay for your bills, pay it up, do your own thing, I do my own thing, and we're good. I came to that point because there wasn't much emotional connection at all. It was as if every day in our routine, we're waking up, getting ready to go to work, come back home, and then go back to sleep. There wasn't anything that we can connect emotionally. So the moment when your emotional connection is dying down, you guys are not spending as much time anymore, and you guys are not involved in each other emotionally, you do get lonely. Just because you have a husband and a wife, that doesn't mean that you are complete, you're fulfilled. You will feel lonely, and I think it's normal. But in order to not feel lonely, you both have to continue to date each other, continue to be intimate, and to have a sit down conversation and ask each other, how's your day going, or how was work? What are some things that I need to do better in order to make you feel good about yourself? Conversations like that, having deep conversations, not just Netflix and chill and that's it. If that is a way for you to connect emotionally, great. But if you're like me, where you want that one-on-one time with each other, you guys are doing the same thing in the room and you guys are not doing your own thing, just because you're in the same room, that doesn't mean that you guys are having quality time. No, like for me, my thing is that in order to have quality time, I want you and me to have that connection with each other, doing things with each other. yeah, if you guys don't have that, your emotional connection, when it's lacking, you're not going to be satisfied in the marriage. And that's going to make you want to, going on to number 3, have a trust issue, and you might cheat. Now, this is one of a good reason for me to believe and to know that, you know what, although we had separated or we've decided to, live separately. And again, it was kind of confused at that time, but even though we didn't culturally get divorced, for me, because I was still staying true to my marriage, last boy did cheated, and we didn't get divorced culturally. And to step out of the relationship is basically, I can't really trust him anymore. And because of that reason, because of him stepping out of our marriage and not communicating to his family and to me that he was done and over with and he doesn't want nothing to do with me and let's divorce, it goes to show that I cannot trust him anymore. And that was the deal breaker for me. And for those who are in a relationship where your spouse is cheating on you, if you guys go back to episode 14, I talk a lot more about the different types of cheating. And again, you have your own interpretation when it comes to cheating, what you believe, don't believe in. There's many of things that you believe to be true when it comes to cheating. And I think there were 7 types of cheating. It was physical, emotional, cyber, object, financial, micro, and combined cheating. So again, go back to episode 14 where I talk more about the different types of cheating. Whatever you feel is your deal breaker when it comes to your partner cheating, then this is a good reason to divorce them. And for me, that's what I did. Even though we talked about whether or not, we had this open conversations to where if one of us cheated on each other, are we willing to take each other's back? For me, I say that I will definitely take you back. For him, he said no, he wouldn't take me back. But you won't know until you actually experience it. And right there and then when that happened, I knew that I cannot take him back because I know that the trust has broken. And I was not willing to deal with any baby mama drama. Wasn't going to deal with a man who has a side chick and a baby that he is responsible for. And I'm not going to deal with that. I'm not all about that drama. Some people are for the drama, but for me, I'm not. And for those who, have been through your partner cheating and you decided to take them back, a note to take into consideration is that the moment when you take them back, you cannot bring up that cheating act into you guys' relationship. If you remind or if you talk about that infidelity that your partner did, you still don't trust that person. It's just no point of being in that relationship. And I get it. Some people, it's really hard for them to break out of that and you wanting to take them back. And, it's really hard. I get it. I have no reason or no way to step into that and to say anything negative to those who happen to stay in the relationship with the partner has cheated. But for me, I will not tolerate that. And the reason why I will not tolerate that, even if I was married or legally married, I will not tolerate it just because I know my worth. I know that I'm not going to deal with, again, baby mama drama stuff because I'm not a drama person. And also, why are you putting yourself in a situation where what happens if this person do all again? It's basically you staying is basically telling the person that you are allowing that person to cheat on you again. They will find a way to cheat again. And, some people do change, but it's a thin line when it comes to that for people changing. If they have a history of cheating. People always say that once a cheater, always a cheater. And I do believe that. You can believe me or not. That's all up to you. But for me, once a person's a cheater, they will always be a cheater. There's no way for them to change. Even if they say that they have, they haven't. They're only changing just for now. Later on throughout the years, they will cheat again. And if for those who has been cheating on, it has nothing to do with you. Again, go back to my episode 14 where I talk more about it. If your partner is cheating on you, it's a good reason to divorce their ass, okay? Number 4, if your partner is abusing you or being violent, any form of physical, emotional abuse should never be tolerated and it is a clear sign that you need to separate, get a divorce, or move somewhere else that is safe for you. I did an episode on the different types of abuse in a relationship. Refer back to episode 22, where I talk about the 7 types of abuse, which was sexual, verbal, emotional, physical, spiritual, financial, and mental abuse. Now, a lot of times people think that physical abuse is the only thing that they need to step away from, or it's a good reason to separate from the person. However, if your partner is being violent towards you and are abusing you in any way that is harsh and where it is basically hurting you mentally, it's time for you to go. And again, similar to cheating, you get physically abused. A lot of times people will still be in their relationship, and again, they have their reason why they stay, and it is a lot harder to move away from that, especially when you have kids or when you are mentally stuck in that relationship where you don't know where to go, or you are dependent on your partner because this person is there to help you financially or to support you in any way, and you can't move away from this person because they are all that you have, right? And so again, I don't know the mentality of that when it comes to being abused, like for example, physically. But for me, if a man land a hand on me, I would just fucking go. Like, I will just go in a heartbeat. You guys have to have a lot of self-worth, knowing your value, knowing what you can and cannot tolerate. And cheating and abuse is a no-go for me. It doesn't matter if you do it the first time, like, hey, I can give you the pass to do those things. But the moment when you use it, that's it. Like, there's just no going back. You can beg and say whatever you want to say, cry yourself a river. I'm not going to change my mind. I get it. Some people, it's really hard. It's easier said than done. But like I said, you guys, the only reason why you are still stuck in that relationship or that marriage that's very toxic in cheating and abuse is because you don't know yourself. You don't know what you're worth. Why would you allow someone to disrespect you and to do that to you? It has nothing to do with you. The only reason why these people are cheating and abusing you is because of them. They have some internal things that they haven't worked on, and they are doing things and using you as an excuse when really it's actually them. So my thing is that although your partner is, let's say if they're just like slightly hitting you a little bit, pushing you, or if they are doing certain things that are just minor, you have to take that into consideration too, because that can lead to something major. And when it comes to a point where they are killing you or attempt to kill you, it's a danger zone, and you got to get yourself out of there. I'm just telling you, okay? Do not allow your partner to abuse you or be violent towards you in any shape or form. If you feel that this person is very negative, and the more you are with this person, you feel like your life is not safe, this is a good reason to get divorced. Number 5, when you're in a relationship or if you're in a marriage with your partner, you guys don't share the same goals and values in life. And I get it. The moment when you guys meet each other, you guys may have shared the same goals and values in life. As years go by, you guys have kids, you guys are growing old, your goals and values don't match. And let's say, for example, if you want to have kids, right? You want to have more kids. Once you have 1 or 2 kids, you're done, but your partner wants more. And the reason is, I don't know, maybe your spouse wants to have more, so because they are family oriented. And the reason why you don't want to have kids because it's hard to take care of them. I know this is like the example kind of sucked, but you get what I'm trying to say here, right? Like, as you get older, you're changing, you're growing, your goals and your values may be different from each other. You guys will be clashing to each other, and you guys are not aligned to where you guys want your life to be at. And when that happens, it does change you guys. It does change you. And it can be very challenging to maintain a healthy marriage. When that happens, you guys have to talk about it. And if you're not willing to give up certain things and your partner is not willing to give up certain things, you guys are not seeing eye to eye, you guys are not, again, going back to number one, having continuous, conflict about the same thing, bringing up the same thing, but your partner is not willing to communicate or come up with solutions, then it's going to hurt the marriage itself. Number 6, if your partner have any addiction issues, so any untreated addiction problems that can harm your partner or the marriage, it can be damaging, and that is a good reason to separate from each other. I never experienced this, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys have. Let's say if your partner is addicted to drugs, okay, like those drugs that people sell in the street. I don't know, you guys. I'm not expert in that, but for example, okay, if they're addicted to drugs and it is affecting their ability to go to work every day, their ability to communicate with you, to be in this marriage with you, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect you where you're going to have to be the one to lead the marriage. You're going to have to be the one to pull up those extra hours just so that you can financially support each other. And it's going to affect you. And as much as you want to help your partner to be healthy and get help, the only way that can help them is if they want to help themselves. If they don't realize that they have an addiction and they're not willing to seek help and you're willing to do that, it's going to make them resent you. They could be addicted to drugs. They can be addicted to alcohol. They can be addicted to pornography. They could be addicted to anything. Addicted to sex, like just anything that they are addicted to where it is affecting you and you guys' marriage. When that happens and you're doing the best you can to help in any way that you know of, but this person is not willing to get help, that person is not willing to accept that they have an addiction, this is a good reason to let go of the relationship, let go of the marriage, and divorce. Talking to my woman out there, as much as we want to help our partner, help our man to see the good and the bad, to want the best for them, if they're not willing to accept that, to see the good and the bad, to see your point of view, and they're not willing to change themselves for the better, not to change for you, but to change themselves for the better, there's just no point of being in that relationship. There's no point of you trying your hardest to help them. Yes, you may love this person so much, and you see yourself with this person until your dying days, right? But if he's not willing to see it, to accept it, girl, it's just best for you to just go on and live your life the way you deserve to live. Yes, it is sad to say, and it's easy said and done, but I'm telling you, if you want a flourish and positive, loving life, you don't want to be around someone who's going to drag you down to the level where they're not motivated, they don't see the way that you see things, and they're not understanding certain things. Like, you don't want to put yourself in that situation. So again, if you are someone who has any types of addiction, that is a good reason to divorce them. Number 7 is major one that I myself have seen and have used to determine to get divorced is if your partner is neglecting you or disrespecting you. Now, if you guys have followed me or have listened to previous episode, you guys have heard that one of the reasons why I got married to Lost Boy was because I wanted respect from his parents. And my thinking was the only way to get respect from his parents is to get married. And that's the reason why I got married. That was the worst decision ever. And the person that told me that, yeah, that was the worst decision ever. Don't get married because you want respect from your husband's or your spouse's parents. Because at the end of the day, parents will be parents. They think that they're high and mighty, and they think that they're above you, and that it doesn't matter who you are, you're going to respect them regardless. And throughout my marriage, there was so much disrespect, and the fact that for Lost Boy, he was unable to stand his ground, create boundaries. He allowed his parents to disrespect not only me, but him in our marriage. And I get it. A lot of times in the Hmong family, a lot of Hmong men, they can't put their feet down because they feel like if they argue back or they say something or they tell their parents no, then they don't love their parents as much or they disrespect them. And that is just bullshit stuff. Very shitty ass shit, but then it's kind of like it will not work for our favor as Hmong woman, just because if you are a good woman, you are just openly, telling your opinions and telling your husband only good things, right? Because you're an outsider, you see the goods and you see the bad, and you are just forcing it to your husband. But if he doesn't say that, and he's just saying that, oh, that's just how my parents are, that's how my family are, and the moment when his parents or family disrespect you, then what do? It's constant disrespect. That also ties back to number one. If you feel like your in-laws are disrespecting you and you are voicing it to your husband and he's not doing anything about it, and you think that everything's going to be okay, but when the issue happens again and your husband's not doing anything, it makes you feel like he's not listening. He's disrespecting you. And when you tell that to your husband, you feel disrespected and he's not doing anything, and it's a constant thing, your marriage is not sustainable. It's a good reason just to get divorced. People might say that, like disrespect, it's a minor thing, but that can create resentment. That creates neglect. If your partner is also neglecting you, and it could be like intimacy, it could be again sitting there and listening to you and problem solve with you, communicate with you. If they are neglecting you, then it makes you create resentment. It makes you hate him. It makes you not want to be in the marriage, and it makes you want to be a roommate. It makes you want to be a roommate with your husband or with your spouse. I'm just telling you that the moment when your partner neglect or respect you, chances are your marriage is not going to be sustainable and a good reason to divorce your partner. Because people might say, oh, this is just a minor thing, but it's a big thing. Especially when you're the type of a person who want a good marriage, a respectable marriage. You don't want a shitty ass marriage. So I say that's a good reason to get divorced. Tying to number 8, if you are unhappy within your marriage because of all of the reasons that I've stated already, where they're cheating, they are abusing you, they are, not loving you in the way that you need to be loved, they're not willing to communicate, and they're not doing what they need to do as a partner, and you feel like you are putting in 100% of your effort and your time in your strength in the marriage, and it's only you that is doing everything in the marriage, you're not happy because you are pulling up so much of your time to make your partner happy, but when it comes to you, you're not happy. Let me tell you guys a story that I remember. It was during the time when, of course, me and Lost Boy were still together, and we had this rocky relationship. It's to a point where we were about to call it quits and end our relationship. And I was trying my hardest just to stay within the marriage and trying to fix it the best that I can. And we went out on a walk at the lake, and it's something that we will normally do. Just to get our exercise and whatnot. And it's been a while since we took a walk on the lake. And we were just talking about life. And of course, that tension was still up in the air, We were just talking about life. And then when I don't remember what we talked about, but I do remember that by the time we got to our car, I told him that, at the end of the day, in our marriage, all I ever wanted to do was just to make you happy. And when the moment when I say that, a part of me kind of broke down on the inside. Gosh. I broke a part of me, like us women, when we have intuition, it tells us when something's going to happen, right? Our intuition is telling us. And when I told him that everything that I do, I just want to make you happy. I just want to make you happy. And then when I said that, a part of me felt so a part of my heart felt so torn apart because I had a vision of myself where my heart was taken out of me. And when I told him that, he says, see, that's all you need to tell me. Like, you should just tell me that more often, that, you know, you wanted to make me happy. And then I thought to myself, but what about me? Like, I want to be happy too. You know, a lot of times, especially for us women, we tend, in a relationship, we tend to want to make sure that our family is good. Want to make sure that they are happy. But when I say that to him, and he told me that I should do that more often, I should say that to him more often, but a part of me was really sad because I wasn't happy. I was thinking to myself, why am I making the effort to make him happy? But when it comes to me, is he making me happy? But then I had to take a step back and I have to think to myself, am I making myself happy? Because I wasn't. And so at that moment, I didn't say anything because I was trying my hardest to, you know, not get emotional and not cry in front of him, because deep down, even though our marriage was coming to an end, it was very rocky. I was doing the best I can to, you know, save the marriage. And for me to say that I was doing all I can to make him happy, I forgot about myself. I forgot to make myself happy. And it got to the point where I was thinking that, oh, I need him to make me happy. I didn't. Right there and then I knew that I forgot to make myself happy. It's not a selfish thing. And, you know, like I said, you know, us women, we want other people to be happy, but then we forgot about our own happiness. And it's, I don't know, as much as you're in a marriage or let's say in a regular relationship, and if you're expecting your partner to make you happy, to love you, or to do other things, you're in the relationship because you want somebody to love you and you want somebody to be happy. I'm sorry to say, but some people are not willing to do that. They're not willing to give their happiness or give their love to you because they don't know how to make you happy. They don't know how to love you. And if you know how to make other people happy, if you know how to love other people, don't neglect yourself. Throughout the whole marriage, I neglect myself. I forgot to take care of myself. I forgot to understand that I also deserve happiness. Why am I waiting for my partner to give me happiness? They should add to my happiness. Yeah, and I did not mean to cry, but that's just one of the major thing that I still remember to this day, and it broke me so much. Because like I said, all those years of just trying to make another individual happy to a point where I didn't even notice that I wasn't happy. I wasn't making myself happy. And it hurts though, you guys. It hurts. When I realized that I wasn't making myself happy, and, you know, this person was just saying that you could have said this more often, or you could have do this more often. Yes, he may feel appreciative, you know, but for me, I didn't feel appreciated. I just feel like, why am I doing so much for you when I could just do this for myself? So using my experience, If you are like me, where you are trying your hardest to make your partner happy, you're doing everything that you know to make them happy. And all they do is say that you should say that more often, or you should do that more often. That way I don't feel so shitty, or that way, I will do things for you. Take a step back and ask yourself, am I happy in this relationship? More importantly, am I happy in my life? Because if you're not, you're gonna feel so exhausted. Again, going back to all these reasons, your goals and values will change. You will just feel like a roommate to this person. So if you're not happy in the marriage, then it's a good sign to divorce. Okay. Number 9. If you are lacking intimacy, meaning that sex is not on the table, okay? If you are consistently lacking physical or emotional intimacy, it can create an issue in your marriage. And I'm not saying that not having enough sex, but if you guys are not satisfying each other or not understanding what each other like, then it could cause, of course, infidelity. It can also not be good in the marriage. Now, there are a lot of factors when it comes to not having enough sex or not having sex at all. I do believe that if your partner is not giving you certain things that you need, and you're not also doing the same thing, that can also affect how intimate you guys are. Let's say, for example, as a woman, right? If your husband is not, let's say, washing the dishes, taking out the trash, or doing things around the house that doesn't need you to remind him to do, and he's not doing any of those things, and you have to be the one to remind him constantly, you're not going to want to have sex with him, right? Right. I know some women, their sex drive is not that high. Like they don't care to have sex. Some they do. I'm pretty sure same with guys as well. I mean, but the way that I heard, like a lot of guys like sex, okay, or they love sex. They love having sex, okay. Some women do, some don't. But if you're the type of woman that loves sex, but then you need a man to do things or say things or to just do foreplay or just do something that will make you be okay to have sex with your husband, then men, you guys have to do those things without us telling you to do those things. And if you are the type of woman that have already communicated that to your husband, but yet he doesn't understand that, or let's say if you guys are having issues and nothing is being said and done, and you don't feel the emotional connection to your husband to a point where even though he wants sex but you don't, then what's the point of giving him sex? Sometimes men don't understand that. They don't understand that in order to stimulate a woman's mind to wanting to have sex with him, what does he need to do to have her be okay to have sex with him? I mean, like I said, if you took out the trash, do the dishes, take care of the kids, that's just an easy way for the woman to say, okay, he's doing all these things without me telling him. That's very attractive. It will make me want to have sex with him, right? But if he's not doing that, he's lazy, he doesn't want to do nothing, then of course, it's not even, it's not really worth it, I'm pretty sure some guys, they will much prefer the woman to do all sorts of sex position to basically be a porn star anyway, okay? But realistically, some women don't give a shit to do those tricks here and there, And some men expect women to be like that, and we're not. And there's just some things that some people don't want to do. And if he happens to want to go outside of the marriage and find someone else and cheat, that's a good reason to get divorced, okay? Again, it all goes to being able to have that emotional connection, to communicate, and to do things that will make the other person appreciate you. And if you're not willing to step up, be a partner, and you're just another son or daughter that your partner is taking care of, what makes you think that they want to fuck you? Like, what makes you think that they want to have sex with you? They're not going to, because you're not doing what you need to do to lessen the load for your partner. And let's say that if they're not willing to do that, if all they want is just to hit and quit and be done, or find it outside of the marriage, this is a good reason to divorce their fucking ass. And some people say, oh, it's just minor stuff or whatever, but sex plays a huge role when it comes to marriage, okay? And if, like I said, if you both aren't doing anything to stimulate each other's mind, either physically or emotionally, or doing things, or learning what their love language is and giving to them, sex is not going to be there. And it's going to be a reason for one person to cheat. And when it comes to cheating, good reason to divorce. That's all I got to say for that one. And the final one is financial strain. So if your partner is too lazy, don't want to work, or they are spending too much money, they don't know how to save, or they're just splurging as if there's no tomorrow, and it is affecting you financially, this is a good reason to dump their motherfucking ass or get divorced, okay? Now, when it comes to financial strain, it could be anything, like I said. If they have a gambling problem, which is another addiction, or if they don't know how to save, they don't know how to balance their checkbook, or they just overspend as if they are a billionaire, which they're not, and it's affecting you, or they are just using you because you have a good paying job, you have money, and they don't. And if they're just using you for money and they're not helping you find a job, they're not putting in their own responsibility when it comes to the finance, this is a good reason to get divorced, okay? Especially if he's just using you and he's spending all your money to the point where you can't pay your bills, you're late in your bills, lights is cut off, you're getting evicted from your apartment, or foreclosure in your house, whatever it is, right? You don't want to be with someone who is lazy and who's not helping you financially, and they're just with you just to gain that financial support from you. No, that is not a good reason to stay in the marriage. It's a good reason to get a divorce. Again, I don't know too much about this, but all I know is that if I'm with someone who is draining me from my finance, who is fucking lazy, who manipulates and tries to use me for my money, or tries to use me to, open, I don't know, a line of credit or something like that, right? Fuck out of there. Like, you have your own credit score, your own financial stuff that you need to deal with. Same with me, but if we can come together to help each other out financially, great. But if I'm doing what I need to do and you're not doing your part, what's the point of you being part of this marriage? Like, I'm not no bank account where you can just fucking use and freeload and mooch off. Hell the fuck no. So if you're with someone who is using you for your money, and please be smart about it. Please know your value. Please know your worth. Do not be with someone who is using you for your money, okay? How are you going to get a house if you're with someone who's using your money? How are you going to pay for your bills if someone is using your money? How are you going to buy a new Louis Vuitton bag if someone is using you for your money? Like, come on. Like, when it comes to money, that's some serious stuff. And again, if you're with someone who has a gambling problem, who's like draining on your money just to gamble, you gotta get yourself out of there. Like, there's no reason to be with someone who doesn't take finance seriously, So that's number 10. And that is all of the 10 reasons to determine when to call quits in marriage. And again, there's plenty of more. I may be missing some of them, but if there is any that I did miss, please let me know so that I can think about it and probably do another episode of that. Who knows? But again, these are my 10 reasons why it's a good reason to call it quits in a marriage. I'm all for divorce. I don't believe that everyone should be in a marriage where it's not serving you right in a positive way. Everyone deserves love. Everyone deserves to be in a loving, prosperous marriage. And if you are in a situation where you're not being loved, you're not being appreciated, you're not being respected, you're not growing as an individual or in a partnership, there's no reason for you to continue being in the marriage. You can actually use these reasons for any types of relationship. If you're dating somebody and you're going through all of these, even before you are married, this is a good reason to use these 10 things when it comes to, being in a relationship as well too. And it's easier way to get out of the relationship. Now, if you're married, it is a lot harder. If you are married legally, for those who are not married legally, but you are married culturally, let me tell you, it's a lot easier to get out of that marriage, okay? Because you're not legally bound to that person. Unless you have kids with this person, you'll have to consider child support and going to court and all that stuff. Again, I'm no expert in that because I've never had kids and never had to experience that. But just know that if you do have kids with this person, if you are planning to divorce, there'll be a lot of money going to it. Same with divorce as well. But if you are culturally married, you don't have to spend as much. Again, I don't know too much about it, but for me, like I mentioned in my previous episode, I didn't have to pay no dime, no nothing. It was just verbal communication telling me that I'm a free ass woman. I can date whoever the fuck I want to date, fuck whoever I want to fuck, and do whatever I want to do because I'm a free motherfucking woman, okay? So yes, for those who, like I said, culturally married, don't be disappointed, but please take these 10 reasons into consideration if you, in your intuition, if it's telling you that you need to divorce and move on from your marriage. Some people might say that, why are you preaching on divorce? I'm preaching on divorce because, like I said, why would you want to be in a marriage or in a relationship where you're not happy, you're not being loved, and you're the only one that's doing everything in the relationship? If that's the case, then fuck out of there. Like, I'm not gonna put myself in that situation ever again. And I'm just one of those people that is willing to tell you guys the ins and out of it and to let you guys know that it's okay to get divorced. There's no shame to it. And if you get divorced, yes, there are going to be some bumps here and there, but I'm telling you, at the end of it all, you will flourish. You will be so happy. You will glow the fuck up, and you will be the happiest, loving person you ever have been. Even better before you were in that relationship, okay? Trust and believe me, I've been there, done it. My experience may not be as harsh as some other people, but I'm just one of those people that's willing to tell you how it is. I don't sugarcoat shit, and just one of those taboo topics that people don't want to talk about. And if you need someone to like support you or to tell you or to basically just tell you that go right ahead and get divorced, I'm gonna be that person, okay? But then again, you have to look at your reasons why. Don't just get divorced because he does not dress. Don't get divorced because, I don't know, just like minor shit, or like he's not willing to throw out the garbage. Like those are just minor things that is not a good reason to get divorced. Yes, of course, if he's lazy, he's not willing to clean up the house, and maybe you can address that to his parents so they can tell him. I don't know, but if that's one of the other reasons why you cannot be with a lazy partner, then that is your reason, But like I said, my 10 reasons of when to call it quits, which is any unresolved conflict, lack of emotional connection, cheating that results in trust issue, being abusive, you guys are not sharing the same goals and values in life anymore, any addiction issues, feeling neglected and disrespected, if you are feeling unhappy in your marriage, or if your partner is financially straining the marriage itself. These are valid, good reasons to divorce. And with that being said, that is all that I have for this episode. I didn't expect to cry on this episode at all, but I feel like each episode that I do is helping me to continue to heal. what I've experienced. And even though it's been 3 years since I've been divorced, I'm still healing. And because of this podcast, it is helping me to be vulnerable, not only to myself, but to you guys and to those who are going through the same thing as I've been through. And if it is helping you in any shape or form, that's good. That's all I care about. All I care about is me creating this podcast is to help for those who understand that there's people like you that are experiencing the same thing. And a lot of times people don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to talk about it. But I'm just one of those people that is willing to do that because I have no shame and I'm just an open book. I'm very optimistic and I just love talking about these things. And we need to talk more about these things so that we can normalize that. It's okay to do this and there are things that are not okay to do. Yes, culture, religion, politics, whatever may play in the role of how we grew up in our life. At the same time, we shouldn't allow those things to stop us from being the best version of ourselves. And even though things didn't happen the way that we planned in our life, we can come out of it, work on ourselves, start loving ourselves, start knowing our value, start knowing our worth, and keep going at it. Find things that we enjoy doing. And even though the relationship or the marriage that you're in did not fulfill you in any ways, it's okay. We live and we learn, and we shouldn't let that affect us or stop us from growing. Even though I've experienced this and, I don't condone this experience towards anyone, you never know if, it's going to come to you. And like I said, if you are listening to this episode and you are listening to it because your marriage is not fulfilling you and you don't know what to do, if these are the 10 reasons to help you to burst that bubble and to step on to the new one, which is to go right ahead and divorce, then do so. This is just the first step of giving you the courage to know that you can divorce and find happiness in your life. Again, I will do a separate episode of the aftermath. And again, you guys have listened to me talking about it, but specifically, I want to do a separate episode on that so that you guys have an idea what life is like after divorce and all that stuff. My experience is different from everyone. Again, I feel like mine is just a little bit minor from other people. Especially for those who are married in a cultural way, it's not as hard as for those who are married legally. Again, I don't know too much about getting legally divorced, but I do know that for those who fall in the shoes where you are Hmong and you are only culturally married, then it's definitely an episode for you to listen. This one, of course, too. But other than that, I hope that this episode finds you peace and that you know exactly what you need to do after listening to this episode. I just wish for everyone to have a successful, loving, and happy relationship, marriage, life. If only people know all the good things that can happen in their life if they are good people and that they have self-awareness. And unfortunately, some people don't see that and they don't want that, or maybe because they don't know that they can have that. And it's unfortunate that I can't bring everyone along in my boat of happiness, in my boat of love. And if this is reaching to those who needs to be reached, then that's all I care for. I don't care for the amount of followers, the amount of views. All I care is that if you are listening to this and if you're not commenting or you're not liking or you're not following, but you're just listening and whatever advice that I'm giving out to you and it's helping you in any shape or form, that's all I care about. I did my purpose. I did what I need to do in order to reach out to you. Even if I know you or don't know you, as long as I'm making a good impact in you, your life, in your decision, whether it's getting married, getting divorced, or living solo, being a single woman, being a single person, whatever it is, whatever experience you may have the same experience too. Aside from that, I lived through a lot of things and I just want everyone to be happy in their life. If we can help each other, we can support each other either through social media or just through podcasts or just through anything, whatever it is. I just hope that everyone is happy and they are loving who they are and they are living the life that they were meant to live. And that is all that I have for this episode. Again, thanks for those who have been listening and supporting me. And as always, I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.